Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again today. So today we're going to be talking about how to put down some borders and also how those borders are going to inform your plotline. There are two different types of borders. The first type of border are hard borders, and these are usually divided by mountain ranges or bodies of water, like this river right there, or like this strait between Reims and Belnum. The second type is soft borders. Soft borders don't actually have a clear dividing line of where one border begins and one border ends, just like right here in Ellenmore and Portimora. Without a clear dividing line between two nations, those two nations might each claim that land, and that sparks conflict. And we all know that conflict is a great driver for plot. Of course, no matter what kind of border it is, it's not immune to conflict. Here we have the border between Elamren, the Elven state, and the Hastati Empire. And if you guys look up here, right there, there is a small gap in between the mountain range. And this, even though it's the smallest little thing, can spark conflict. So we can say that the Hastati Empire decides, well, all of this land, all the way over here, is actually our land, thus starting a war between the two nations. So what does this mean for your player characters? Well, let's pretend we had a half-elf character who's half Hastati and half Elmrin. Let's say maybe this player character lives in that region or grew up in that region. Of course, this half-elf is caught in between two worlds like most half-elves are. Then one day, an old elf comes up to this half-elf character and says, I was there 3,000 years ago when the border treaty was signed, and I know where it is, but I cannot get it myself. I'm too old. I need you to get it for me and stop this war before it ever starts. The treaty was signed in an ancient city that is now covered in swamps, and you must go there to find the ancient city ruins and recover the treaty. So the half-elf decides to travel to Swamp Watch. There he meets one of the other player characters, who's a halfling, that has to go rescue somebody from the Hastati Empire, like I had mentioned in one of my previous videos. So the two player characters decide, hey, let's team up. Let's do this together. So they head off to the swamp and then to rescue somebody later on. Maybe the half-elf does find the treaty in the swamp. Maybe afterwards, two people come up to him. One saying you should fudge the borders to make it look better for the Hastati. The other says you should forge the borders to make it better for the elves. Now your player character is left with a real dilemma, right? Or does he just not fudge it at all and just show everybody and say, hey, calm down? Doing something like that is going to make your player characters really feel like they're a part of the world. They're no longer just going into inconsequential dungeons, right? They're actually interacting with different states, different nations and empires to change the actual lore of the game. And from my experience, player characters like that. They like it a lot. All right, I think that just about covers it. Just wanted to say real fast, shout out to my man, Master Icy, for coming up with some great lore. If you guys want to come up with some lore, I'd love to hear it. So please just leave it in the comments. All right, guys. So if you like this one, I don't know, maybe think about pressing some buttons for me. Just throwing it out there. All right, guys. Have a good one.